Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
Write this down.
It is.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
I'll write that down Wednesday here. Purple Daily. Daily Vikings entertainment. We have also a quarterback cesspool challenge that I think is going to make one of our heads explode absolutely all over the Purple Daily screen here. So excited for that later on. A lot of people are probably waking up today. Maybe your head exploded when you woke up today. Maybe you are elated because of the election last night. Either way, we know our role here on Purple Daily, and it's for the sports dad to make predictions. It's for me to be more wrong than you guys, and for Declan to grow mustaches. So you came to us today probably for an outlet to hear about your favorite football team, and damn it, we will provide that outlet for you today.
Last night was rough. The Wild just got annihilated by the Kings.
5-1, really rough.
It was that was a
bad.
rough night for the sports dad watching after singing their praises on Judd's hockey show. I'm going to tell you right now, that was a rough. Speaking of your head exploding, 5 goals against will cause one's head to at least expand a little bit.
I love Judd. Everyone's like buried in election coverage one way or the other, and Judd's like texting me, and Deck's like, "Hey, I'm at the X. What's going on? What's going on?"
Yep. I wasn't going to stay home and watch. No, I had a live game to go to.
What's going on at Quick Trip before we get into the accountability session here?
No matter how you feel, good or bad, like you watched the Wild last night and you're upset, I'm going to tell you the one place that can soothe your feelings, make you feel a lot better about things this morning is going a trip to Quick Trip, because Quick Trip has everything you could possibly need. Look at all of these offerings. You walk in, you got to get a smile on your face because your day has started right. There's the Kruba coffee right there. We're going to go around the corner. You know what? We're going to see dinner. Pizza's right there. How about that? I mean, look at all of the delicious offerings. Quick Trip, yeah, it's a convenience store, but it's a convenience store that's really a grocery store. And then outside, you fill up that tank, and if you put the app on your phone, they're going to bring the groceries out to you. I mean, does it get any better than that? Life could not be simpler thanks to our friends at Quick Trip.
Also, 2 things on the Score North app right now of note, and there's probably more than 2 things, but 2 things of note. Number 1, we are giving away a 75-inch Roku Pro Series 4K TV. Just open the app, go to Listener Rewards. You can enter to win the 75-inch Roku Pro Series TV. We are also giving away right now on the Score North app multiple pairs of tickets to the Minnesota-Atlanta football extravaganza. That's right. Minnesota plays Atlanta on Sunday, December 8th. And we have 3 pairs of tickets in section 216. We're going to give those tickets away in like a week and a half. And you can, by the way, you can enter daily on the Score North app for that. So check it out if you want to see Minnesota battle. Minnesota battling Atlanta on a football network. Not that. You can't say that.
We've only gotten Kenny once. I actually went through and ran through all the announcer teams that we've gotten so far. And I'm going to say this. When you're good, life is good. A lot of Kevin Harlan.
Well, what do you mean? I don't mind Kenny. Are you saying that like
he's the number 4 guy?
But you just made it sound like it's
I don't know.
Bad if Kenny is calling the game.
Well, one is he's the 4 guy, so it's not good because that means that your team is not as respected. And 2, Kenny might not be bad. I'm sorry, I am not ever going to be a Jonathan Vilma fan.
That's fair. It's a fair point there. Okay, here's how Write That Down works. It's 3 Vikings or football-related predictions from everybody each week. They must be quantifiable. We keep track of completion percentage and touchdowns on this version of the show. On the OG version, the other podcast we do almost daily is Mackey and Judd, Minnesota Sports with Mackey and Judd. We've got those stats going back 10 years. The Purple Daily stats going back about 4 years. Listeners, if you want to participate, like Zach is about to, you can send Declan a message through the Score North app, and we will get you scheduled. Let's start with the bloodbath for Judd here.
Oh, my eyes.
You had a parlay. You said the Falcons would win against the Cowboys. The Cowboys would sack Cousins 3 or more times. You said Dalton. Well, you also said the Cowboys would be called for at least one roughing the passer. I don't think that happened, but
are we now buzzing every portion of a parlay that's wrong? Because I mean, I don't remember this being part of the show. It's not in my contract.
I know what. Normally we don't, but I think just because it triggers you, we're gonna start doing that now.
I just signed.
I don't do parlays too much.
I just signed mine yesterday, and there was this amendment on like page 32 that literally said we must buzz every Judd parlay incorrectly. So,
yep, sorry, Judd.
That is in there.
You said Dalton Reisner would start at right guard against the Colts.
Yeah, that's okay.
You said the Vikings would acquire a defensive tackle before the trade deadline who made a Pro Bowl. You said the Panthers would trade Adam Thielen by the 2024 trade deadline.
So he'd been hurt, and there must have been just no appetite for him. Because I got to believe that if the Panthers could have gotten a 7th-round pick for him, right?
Well, and then you look at like the teams that did make a move for a receiver, and there was a ton of movement. Look at the stature of players that Devontae Adams and Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
Just
Mike Williams is not exactly who he used to be, but I'm guessing that there was zero appetite by teams to acquire Adams.
Yeah.
So.
D-Hop. I mean, there was like 3 or 4 guys. So
D-Hop rejuvenated, shockingly.
For me, I had a bunch wrong too. Just a bad week here for old Macadac. Cowboys. I said the Cowboys would beat the Falcons, but Kirk would stick it to Zimmer for 300 yards passing in a loss. Cowboys are woof. Now Dak's on IR.
Yeah,
that's a franchise that's tumbling.
Yeah,
that's a shame. They are still the main focus of the ESPN morning block every time I turn it on.
How long can you just ambulance chase for like a half hour at the start of every ESPN football show?
Okay, let's start the show. Let's throw it around. Did the Cowboys win or lose at the deadline, and why did they lose?
They're literally debating which backup quarterback should they be starting more than Cooper Rush or Trey Lance. That was their lead going into week 9.
Amazing. They ambulance chased the Jets for like 3 straight weeks too. And it's like, okay, let's Sam Darnold gets his first fourth quarter comeback against the Colts. Didn't need it. The third quarter comeback.
Yeah.
The great quarterbacks take the lead before the fourth quarter.
Oh, no question.
I said Dallas Turner would sack Joe Flacco. On the spirit of this was correct. He played a lot and he had pressures and stuff. Didn't get the sack. I said Hockenson's first reception would be a touchdown. Our guy, halftime performer Christian Stoynev, friend of the show, had 2 come off the board last week. He said Aaron Jones would have 120 yards rushing and a touchdown against the Colts. And the Vikings would record at least 5 sacks. They had 3 of Joe Flacco. So Declan was the only one with a correct prediction this week. Yikes. Your primetime parlay went south. You said the Vikings, Chiefs, and Texans would win their respective primetime games.
Bad beat for the Texans.
You said KOC would get a contract extension before November 1st. What are we doing there? We just make it improve it? We don't do contracts during the season?
Yeah, this is intriguing because so now he's definitely in line, I would think, to get one before the start of next year because there's no way that you're going to allow him to go into a lame duck year. There's no reason to do that.
Maybe they're just, I don't know, maybe they're just going to do it like 2 weeks after the season.
Yeah, probably.
But Dex, you did say Jordan Addison would have a season high in receptions with 4 or more, which he did.
Yay.
There we go. So with that here on the season, which runs Super Bowl to Super Bowl, Declan just under 42% completions, Judd 37.5%. I'm at 30.5%. Listeners just a tick under 30%. Listeners with 10 touchdowns, Judd with 9, Dex with 8. I only have 2 touchdowns on the season. Dex still leads the career all-time completion percentage, 37%. You're also tied with the listeners with 49 career tuds. So there's the accountability. We got Zach making his debut here, his listener debut on Write That Down. Zach, what's going on, man?
How you guys doing?
Is it a conference room you're hanging out in right now?
Yeah, in between some meetings at work.
Look at that glorious
the Bobs are about
room.
to walk in. The Bobs are
I
going to
know,
come
I
in.
know.
Zach,
Had to
what would
reserve
you
the
say
conference room.
you do here?
Just say-
you reserved it.
Oh yeah,
Blocked it.
That's
Oh,
important
nice.
stuff.
I'm a people person, damn it.
So Zach, yeah, what's your background as a Vikings fan?
I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky, but my dad grew up in Illinois and didn't want to be a Bears fan, so joined the Vikings, kind of purple people eaters. First memories of the Vikings, unfortunately, are '98, and then it's just been misery since.
Yeah, I think that about sums it up. That's about it
Yeah,
right
but
there.
it's been tinged with moments of huge hope. Like that's the thing, right? Like
I
it's
agree.
been
I
Brett
agree.
Favre is unbelievable. They're going to the Super. Oh, Case Keenum, I can't believe. Oh, so
Yeah. It's kind of what I tell my kids. I'm like, just know that you're signing up for 60, 70 years of tough fandom if you want to be the Vikings fan.
Yeah, you're going to learn a lot of life lessons is what's going to
Yeah.
happen. So, all right, Zach, well, we will start with you, over to Judd, Dex, and then back around to me here. 3 trips around the room. Football-related predictions, pretty much the only parameters here. So
Write this down.
let's rock and roll.
Cool. First one be this weekend. I'm just going to say the Vikings are going to rush for 125 yards, and they're going to pass for 250 yards against the Jaguars. Both a little bit above their season averages, but I think the Jaguars stink, and I think they're about to quit.
Yeah, they might have all. They came back in the game. I think it was in London against the Patriots, but the previous week they had played there, and they looked like they quit, and they basically said we quit, and now I think they've re-quit. So they're committed to quitting. So I think you're exactly right.
You know what, man? Doug Peterson, I was thumping the table a couple years ago when you're who are the Vikings going to hire? Of course, Jim Harbaugh and Kevin O'Connell came along as great candidates, but early on, I was like, man, Doug Peterson would be a great little hire by the Vikings, right? Come on in. Philadelphia doesn't know what they're doing, but that's been a disaster for Doug, for the Jaguars. Hopefully the Vikings can stick the final nail in the coffin.
Zach, did you say 250 passing yards?
50.
Got it. Making sure.
Write this down. Write it down. You like writing things down.
On the same thread as Zach, Sam Darnold will exceed his season high of 290 yards passing in Sunday's game. So his season high right now is 290. He will exceed that. We talked about this on the show yesterday. The Jaguars, I think, are second to last in pass defense. Certainly some opportunities to spread that ball around with Hockenson back now. Addison catching 5 passes last week. Justin Jefferson, Aaron Jones. I think we're going to see a lot of passing on Sunday.
All right. Okay.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
The Dexter. Old
All right,
Decky.
so currently Vikings are 4.5-point favorites in Jacksonville right now, according to FanDuel. So write this down. I'm going to double that up, plus some. The Vikings win by 10 or more points against the Jags. They will win by 10 or more. Write it down on Sunday in Duval County.
Thanks, Ross Brandel.
Write this
That's
down.
Ross's favorite.
It was funny. Even yesterday, like watching coverage, like Kornecki said it, and I can't unhear it. I just hear Duval every time someone brings it up.
Can I just say, for all of the big dog, like the Kornackis, John King, when they bust out the electoral map expert, who mostly just kind of sits back, like they're being paid for basically every other year. Where you got the presidential and then you've got the midterm elections. The degree to which they can pull up a state and then hit the exact right county and then give a dissertation on the history and the voting of that county is crazy impressive. Mm-hmm. And to not fumble the technology. It's one thing to know all the things, but then to also know the technology while you're live in front of millions of people, just insanely talented people that are doing that for these elections.
Are you telling me that it's more impressive than on NFL Live when Orlovsky hits the screen and describes something and then stops it, circles the receiver?
I find that to be impressive too.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's like
map.
one football play. And these guys are, and you know what you're it's already been planned out.
Correct.
Here you're reacting on the fly to numbers being dumped in, and I don't know, man. It's pretty wild. Okay.
Write this down.
Write this down. The Vikings will beat at least 2 teams on the remaining part of their schedule who will part ways with their head coach, I'll say before March 1st. I'll just give myself some leeway there. So they will beat at least 2 teams the rest of their schedule. I think the favorites here are if they beat Jacksonville and Chicago would be, because those coaches look like they're on thin ice. I would also say, Tennessee, they just made that change, right?
I think they're good there.
They're not going to fire.
Arizona's probably not.
Fire the
Atlanta.
quarterback.
No.
It's pretty much, it's basically a Chicago and Jacksonville prediction here. So,
Write this down.
all right, back over to Zach here.
All right, so off season, didn't get a D tackle, didn't get a cornerback. I think they do that in the off season. I think they either sign DJ Reed or BJ Hill this off season.
Yeah, and that's going to be what Reed would be like 18, 20? How old is he now? DJ Reed.
Late 20s?
Late 20s.
maybe? Yeah.
Okay.
He's like 28.
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah, sometimes like with cornerbacks, you got to be a little careful once they get to be 29-ish. You know?
Yeah. And we also saw that there was a lot of movement in the weeks up to Tuesday and then on Tuesday itself. But Lattimore was the only like name corner that moved. And I looked through the entire list. I don't think at the end of the day, one named defensive tackle moved. Houston traded a slappy rotational guy to San Francisco. But it was clearly a difficult, I was hoping that there would be at least one D tackle, big name out there, but I think ultimately there was not. And the Vikings didn't have the draft capital at the end of the day either. So,
and also like the Giants would just be, even if they're kind of entering, the Giants may wind up going for a new quarterback. And I don't think they've already said that Daboll is safe in the GM, but even if they're going into a retool, Dexter Lawrence is like 26 or 27 years old. He's under contract for 4 more years. It would be foolish for them to trade him, but they are the Giants, and they've
Write this down.
made foolish personnel moves before.
we were hoping for foolish, though. That's what we were hoping for.
Yeah, they're definitely like the team in your fantasy league that you send a text message to just to see if they're a little buzzed up. It would make a dumb trade.
Yeah, exactly right. When you let Saquon Barkley walk out the door and basically insult him, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Write this down.
All right. So, unfortunately, after seeing the events that transpired on Tuesday at TCL with the Viking special teams, I'm going to make this prediction. The Vikings will have either a missed field goal or PAT attempt on Sunday, or there will be a problem with a snap. So they will either have John Parker Romo will either
Put some respect on his name.
I don't understand why they had to go get the guy that they cut early in training camp. Wasn't there somebody else? But anyway,
I guarantee it's for chemistry, right?
Yeah.
So we have a new snapper. Yeah. Let's at least bring in a kicker that's worked with the holder before, so that we're not completely doing this thing on the fly.
I guess. But anyway, John Parker Romo will either miss a field goal or PAT attempt, or he won't get one off because there will be an issue with the snap.
Wow, no faith in John Parker Romo. Huh?
Or a long snapper. Well, you're asking a long snapper to come in and work with the holder who's also got a new kicker. Like, the multitude of potential things to go wrong here.
All right. I know that on our old radio show, Ryan Longwell used to be like 3 times a year we would summon Ryan Longwell as our kicking consultant, and he would call in and he would explain the intricacies, and one of his biggest criticisms was how often that version of the Vikings would swap out one of the cogs in that trio, right? Mm-hmm. And he's got a point. Like, having that chemistry is important. But come on. Those 3 guys literally spend every second of their day at practice doing the same thing. You snap it, you catch it, you put the ball down, you kick the ball. Okay? So, much like Declan with the Joe Flacco fear-mongering, and I had fed into that, this whole, lack of chemistry between the guy who snaps it, holds it, and kicks it, figure it out, guys. Okay? It's the only thing. It's not like being a starting center in the NFL where it's like, holy crap, I have to know what the play is. I have to know what the protection is. I have to know if the defense is sending this type of blitz, your head's going to explode. You're not dealing, there is no play call for a kicker. Let's not overblow it.
All due respect, I'm going to side with my guy, Ryan Longwell.
Okay, all right.
Write
Does
this
Phil
down.
know he's talking about the Vikings?
Exactly. Yeah, I was.
Field goal
I'm,
kicking?
I'm very nervous. This is probably the thing I am most concerned about now going into Sunday.
Figure it out, guys.
I
Figure
will.
it out.
I will
Write it
say
down.
it's
Like
very
writing things
Vikings
down.
to finally have a kicker that's nails and he goes on IR.
Of
That
course.
part is kind of like
Well,
poetic.
But how do you feel about? So was it Matt Daniels that came out yesterday and said, "Hey, the missed kicks had nothing to do with his quad injury," because he was asked about the 31-yarder.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that must have been because he had a bad quad. And Matt said, "No, that was just a horrible kick. The quad thing popped up later in the game.
It concerned me more that
He had the yips before the yips and he's injured.
but
He's broken. I think you have to move on."
Well, just very quickly here, Judd conspiracy. I think it's very interesting that the coaching staff is now all on the same page of we didn't know a thing about this. And Reichert's like, I heard it like during the week. So he either didn't tell them or he did, but they're not going to admit that because then you didn't put him on the injury report. The whole thing is very odd. Like, the whole thing is very weird. Like, when did you get hurt? Who knew? And if no one did know, why the hell wouldn't you? You're a kicker. That's like, what are you doing? Your leg is hurt. Tell somebody.
Well,
if
it
he didn't.
sounds like maybe he did, but
Write this down.
no.
Well, that's but Daniels also said they didn't take that he didn't tell us. So just stay tuned.
All right, for this one, I'll just say
Write
this.
this
Write
down.
this down. John Parker Romo won't miss a kick against Jacksonville.
Oh, you stole mine.
I already had I had this in the bank before this discussion ever happened. So and I was going to save it for last, but been teed up now. So now I will kick this one through the uprights.
I agree with Zach.
So,
you guys do you guys know who we're talking about here? We're talking about the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
Your
Now
faith
listen,
is
John
admirable.
Parker Romo is part of a new era of Vikings kicking.
this down.
Okay, and I'm going to piggyback off Declan. All you fear
50 yarder,
mongers out there.
60-yarder.
You think Gary Anderson has anything to do with John Parker Romo?
I saw John
John-
Parker Romo, sir, in training camp.
John Parker Romo will make at least a 45 or longer yard field goal against the Jaguars.
Okay.
Where
I was
could
gonna
this
say
go
50.
wrong?
I was gonna say 50, but let's
You guys
let's
are
give him
like-
5 extra yards.
You guys are like creating even worse potential luck here. John Parker Romo will never
44,
ever miss.
43 yards.
Write this down.
At least a 45 yard. Okay, back to Zach.
All right, so I don't know if this is a touchdown or not, but it's a Justin Jefferson will move into the third place on the career receiving yards list of the Vikings by the end of
Ooh.
this season, and I think he's about 950 yards away.
Whoa. Okay.
Let's pull this up here. Let's see here. I mean, it's got to be Carter number 1, right?
Yeah,
And then Moss probably number 2.
yep.
Pull up the old franchise
It
encyclopedia
is
here.
incredible. I mean, he passed Thielen right last week.
I think he's tied with him or just passed him. one
Yeah,
of the
just
two,
passed
yeah.
Thielen and did it in a fraction of the games. He passed Diggs,
Yeah.
obviously. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's nuts.
he's tied with Thielen for 4th, and then Anthony Carter is 3rd, Randy Moss 2nd, Chris Carter 1st. So to pass Anthony Carter, he needs like 1,000 more. Yeah, like 950 more yards. So yeah, okay. And then he's going to pass Randy Moss in probably less than 2 years. Like in 2 years, he'll pass Randy Moss.
It's nuts.
That'll
in the
be for
middle of
next
this
year when I'm back on. I'll predict that one next year.
Okay.
I like it.
Love it, man. Well, Zach, since you've got this life-changing platform here in this glorious conference room, excuse me, that you have reserved following the rules, is there anyone in your life that you'd like to thank that helped you get to this pinnacle moment?
I appreciate you guys having me. Being a lifelong Vikings fan, it's cool just to kind of interact with you all. But my dad, obviously I became a fan because of him. My wife is a little bit more accepting of the Sunday. She asks and doesn't quite get as upset. And then my kids are kind of getting to the point where they watch a little bit. So it's pretty cool to see it generational.
Love it, man. Love it, Zach. Well, enjoy the game this weekend. Good luck with your predictions, and we'll definitely see you again sometime, right?
All right, talk to y'all later.
All right.
Thanks, Zach.
Guest listener, predictor, Zach in the house here. Judd, what happens when there's pests or spiders in the house?
Spiders.
Who do you
and
call?
And how about mice? Who are you going to call? Spidex Pest
Spidex.
Control. Ba-da-ba-ba. So Spidex Pest Control, I got hold of them or started to work with them about 2 months ago. They came to the house once. They did all this surveying. They looked around. They put down things to track where those mice were coming from. Then they came back and took care of the entire problem. I'm going to tell you right now, mice season is here when it comes to old houses. And I haven't seen one yet because you know what? Spidix Pest Control is doing a fantastic job. And also, as Phil said, they take care of spiders and all of that type of thing. And right now, they've got an offer for Score North listeners and viewers, $125 off your first service by calling 952-333-8813 or check them out at Spidix.com. That's SPIDEXX.com. They also serve outside the metro, so Spidix.com. Check that out and see if you can get your mouse problem, rodent problem taken care of.
Let's talk about AG1 here for a sec. You know, taking care of your health shouldn't be super complicated, and AG1 helps simplify the process of being healthy by replacing multiple health supplements like multivitamins, digestive aids, immune support, and puts it all into one scoop or one travel pack here. Trusted by top athletes all over the world and top local podcasters. AG1 is a simple and comprehensive foundational nutritional supplement for whole body health. I've been using AG1 for going on 8 years. I've gone from the scoops, which are great, to the travel packs, which I prefer. And if there's one product I had to recommend to elevate your health, one scoop, mix that water up, maybe in the morning, middle of the afternoon, it's AG1. And if you want to take ownership of your health, it starts with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 of these AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/purpledaily. That's drinkag1.com/purpledaily to check it out. Okay, our final trip around the room here. Predictions?
Write this down.
To the Judmeister.
All right, I'm going to swing for a home
The
run.
Judster.
I'm going to swing for a touchdown here, and this is going to be a deep pass. This is a 9 route. But what the hell? The Vikings will beat the Jaguars on Sunday, and Doug Peterson will be fired before their next game on November 17th at Detroit.
So you did this once already with the Jets, right?
Yes.
Where like Crypt
Robert
Keeper
Saleh.
Judd comes in.
I said
Okay.
Robert Saleh, yes. Off the record on that one, I said that he would actually be fired on the plane coming back from the Vikings game.
Oh, yeah.
He was not. They allowed him to land in the States before they decided to fire him, or before they at least informed him. But yeah, I'm going to do it again because I think that I think the fact that the team has just quit. I also don't think that you can keep this up when you've got a quarterback who is there for the long term. The whole thing just seems very
yeah.
The whole thing seems very weird. You know, at least with the Titans, one that Callahan's in his first year. They're a mess, but I think they're going to replace the quarterback, and there's a page to turn there, right? I don't think with Jacksonville there's a player page to turn. Certainly not a quarterback one.
Yeah.
So I think it's the coach.
Yeah, it would seem that a Ben Johnson, who we've put him over with the Bears, the Lions offensive coordinator.
Those two teams make the most sense, though. You're right.
You throw a guy like him in, if he can head coach, it's one thing to be a coordinator, but think about, God, if you're the one thing I'd be a little careful about with Ben Johnson, he's a brilliant schemer. That doesn't make you a brilliant head coach.
Correct.
And Dan Campbell is the perfect yin to his yang, where Dan is this leader of men and culture and team building and toughness. And all of that is the bedrock of the Lions. And then you add in sort of the flair of the offense. To what extent can Ben Johnson actually coach beyond just scheming? I guess we might find out.
You're right.
All right, Dex.
Write this down.
All right, last one. TJ Hockenson catches a first quarter touchdown against the Jags. I'm going to be very specific here. So likely first drive, since the scripted plays usually work pretty well to start the game. So write this down. TJ Hockenson catches a touchdown against the Jags in the first quarter.
Until the quarterback accidentally throws the pass too low, and the scripted plays have worked great, but then the linebacker just catches the ball. That first drive was great until he threw that pass. I mean, they looked fantastic. So
That's the thing, man. It's everything's going great, and then he just all of a sudden wigs out during. He's done that with 4 or 5 different drives, and I hate to pile on him because at the end of the day, he's having a fantastic season. But you're right. It's like, here go the Vikings. March, march, march. And then, boom, like a linebacker pops up through a Mario portal out of nowhere, and he's the only one that doesn't see him.
And then they're like, well, he should have thrown the ball higher. No bleep, Sherlock.
But even if he throws the ball higher, like the second defender picks it off.
Yeah.
You're talking about the end zone interception, right?
Yeah, but the coaching staff said that they should have. I think what the ideal play was, Hockenson would have been deeper in the end zone, and he throws the ball over both of those guys, and then Hockenson either catches it or it sails above his head. But anyway, because that scripted drive looked absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, I'm trying to decide how bold because I do want a touchdown. And I do think the Vikings are back on track. I don't think this game is like super hard to figure out. If it was maybe a month ago, I'd say the Jaguars feel like a team that's closer to firing the coach. So I'll just say this. The Vikings will have their highest scoring output offensively, but if they score a defensive touchdown, I'm just saying they'll have their most points scored in a game so far this season against the Jaguars. Write it down. That's a touchdown, right? It would have to be 30, it'd be 35 or more points.
Yeah, that's close enough. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
I mean, I'm saying it'll be their highest scoring game.
Yeah.
I was gonna say 40, but 34 is their previous, so I'll take those points and say 35 or more points.
All right.
Yeah.
For the Vikings. Okay.
Write this down.
I was going to object at first, but it's fine. It's fine.
No, I mean you can object.
Well, no,
It's a democratic
to
process here, and write that down.
I was going to initially say that I think it should be offensively, so subtract the defense, but it's not. That's splitting hairs. It's fine.
Okay. So those are the predictions every single week here, where we hold each other accountable. We show you just how wrong we are. The only show in America that puts statistics next to our predictions. Boys, the other thing we do on Wednesdays, the quarterback cesspool challenge, where we celebrate and look to identify the worst quarterback play in the NFL each week. We'll get to the results from last week. Someone took a little chansky, and didn't go too well. Each member of the show, here's how it works, essentially drafts a quarterback for that week. Once you draft a quarterback, you can no longer use that quarterback for the rest of the year. It's like a survivor pool. And this happened this week too, if you choose a quarterback who is inactive and the backup plays, you automatically get the backup for that week. That happened with, I believe, Judd this week.
The backup didn't play, unfortunately. Drake May did. And then, of course, ran headlong into a defender, but I digress.
Yep. And the scoring is very simple. It's lowest QBR, so 0 to 100 scale, lowest QBR. And the results from last week are very interesting. So I picked up my third weekly win of the season with Jameis Winston. I bet on the regression of Jameis Winston.
You got it.
With a 27.9 QBR. Judd took Jacoby Brissett, but Drake May wound up starting. And so because you haven't used Drake May before, you get Drake May, 59.4 QBR. Pretty good performance for him. You know, he's got no weapons. He's out there running for his life, trying to tie that game up at the end. But then Declan took a shot here with a more established starting quarterback, hoping for the demise of Tua. And he winds up hanging the highest QBR, the best QBR score that any of our quarterbacks have hung all season, 82.9 or 89.2. 89.2. Joe Flacco, by the way, had the worst QBR in the league last week.
Just went with
14 points.
What I wanted to do, but then Tua's historically awful against Buffalo. I just should have put my money where my mouth is.
Brutal, dude. Brutal. So with that on the season, all of us have 3 wins, regular season, weekly wins. For the regular season QBR average, I have a wide lead now, 39.1. Judd, 49.9. Declan up to 54.9. Boy, 1 week, man, just kind of sways. I think Declan jumped like 5 points, and I went down maybe 3 or 4 points.
Well, Declan's now had 2 really, unfortunately for him, good weeks from QBs, right, Dex?
Yeah, you've had, Bo Nix, 80.8. And then Tua, 89.2.
Oh.
And then you've also had Derek Carr, 65.2, and a Geno Smith, 60.
Yeah.
It's kind of...
It's unfortunate.
Kind of stepping in it there.
shocked I'm only like 5 points back of Judd for second place.
Well, I got screwed by Drake May.
But
he should have played too.
Catching first place would take probably like miraculous work at this point. Like I'd have to identify like probably 3 to 4 of the lowest QBRs, and I'll probably need some help from Mackey also, or whoever would be in first place to also have like an above average day. It's going to take a lot of work.
Yeah, you're gonna need me to fail.
Yes.
Quite aggressively here. It would feel like.
And you won the title last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Dex won the regular season title, and then we did a playoff version of it. But the regular season, I feel like, the longevity of it is what's most important. So, okay, we'll make our picks for the week here. We'll draft in reverse order of last week's standings. But let me open up this Prize Picks app real quick here and see what's cooking. Prize Picks, where you can win up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks. You select between 2 and 6 players. You pick more or less on their projected stats, and you place your entry. It's as simple as that. So, yeah, Justin Jefferson, this is one of the most popular selections of the week here. 94.5 receiving yards for Justin Jefferson against one of the worst pass defenses in the National Football League. It even gives you like the historical trends here of whether he went more or less. So they give you some fun data here. I'm going to have to think about that one the next couple days. But if you want to make it more fun watching football, download the Prize Picks app today and use the code PURPLEDAILY to get $50 instantly when you play just $5. That's code PURPLEDAILY on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play just $5. Prize Picks, run your game. And also a shout out to Federated Mutual Insurance Company. Great partner of ours here. We appreciate them over the years helping us build Score North and Purple Daily, keeping this a daily Vikings entertainment show. As a business owner, you want to make sure you have a game plan in place, like having a great offensive line in place, to stay focused on safety, preventing claims, risk management. Let the team at Federated support your business in those ways. Federatedinsurance.com to find out more. And remember, at Federated, it's our business to protect yours. All right, so reverse order of last week's standings. Let me bounce back to last week's results here. This means that Declan gets the first pick, Judd gets the second pick, and I get the third pick.
All right, I will not make the same mistake twice. Give me Joe Flacco. Give me Joe Flacco for this week's.
What if he learned, dude? What if he's seeing the field clearly now?
Bills are 8th in scoring defense this year. They're top 10 in takeaways. I like the Bills, even though this is in Indy, but I like the Bills' chances here.
If Joe Flacco is terrible again, do you go back to Richardson then? Like what? They painted themselves into this weird corner by saying we're going to Joe Flacco, basically saying we're going to Joe Flacco for the foreseeable future. So
it's super weird.
What do you do now?
Well, it's like also, what was their plan this year? That they think like the rest of their roster is Super Bowl ready. Oh, we got to bail on Anthony Richardson because we just need a competent quarterback to win the Super Bowl. No, not in that. And what? So like, why not just play the whole season with Anthony Richardson and know definitively at the end of unless they know definitively now, like, yeah, the dude literally can't complete a 12-yard pass. So let's just do it now.
Well, and when you switch to Flacco, why double down? Like, why not just say, hey, you know what, we're going to make this change. We'll see. But instead, they were like very sure of themselves. Like Joe Flacco is the quarterback from here on. It's like, okay, guys, he's 39. He's going to be 40 in January. Good luck with that.
Yeah, super weird. Football. All right, Judd.
Okay, so
you're on the clock.
Because I am a constant consumer of Get Up, First Take, and NFL Live, I know my Dallas Cowboys. I know them very well. And I know that they're going to be starting Cooper Rush against the Eagles on Sunday. And so I will take the man that once beat the Vikings. I don't even blame Cooper Rush. I think that team is such a mess right now that a Cowboys QB is probably a good play. And the fact that it's not Dak Prescott is probably even better. So I'll take Cooper Rush.
Now, Cooper Rush, in that, was it 21 or 22? I guess he had a couple starts.
21, right?
He was awesome for a few games, including the game against the Vikings. So
he was, but they weren't a dumpster fire as a team right then.
Yeah.
As I recall, right?
That's fair. So, all right, I think I think this is obvious here for me. We got Titans and Chargers. Let me just pull. I just want to make sure here. I believe Mason Rudolph is going to be starting that game for the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, I tried to find that, and they said they're going to go back to Levis when he's ready. It was very unclear when he was going to be prepared to go back in, though. So I couldn't make.
But for selfishly, I have not used Will Levis.
Oh yeah, okay.
Either. So good. It's Titans on the road against one of the best defenses in the league, and I either get I'll pick Mason Rudolph or I get Will Levis if they decide to play him. Yeah. I think either way I feel pretty confident. So give me Mason Rudolph in this one. So Joe Flacco for Dex, Cooper Rush for Judd, and I'll take Mason Rudolph.
Who else considered Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, I mean,
I gave it some thought.
Yeah, I've used him already.
Okay.
I thought about it. I thought about Derek Carr versus the Falcons too, because that whole thing is just crumbling right now.
That's good. Yeah.
With New Orleans, poor Dennis Allen. Dude, they were 2-0, averaging like 46 points a game. They thought they had something.
I was trying to figure out, like, after 2 weeks, where did Dennis Allen rank for, like, Coach of the Year odds? Like, I got to imagine it skyrocketed after the first 2 weeks. And KOC, by the way, has fallen. Like, he's, like, plus 900 now. I think Dan Quinn is now, like, is the betting favorite by, like, a long shot. So, but yeah, poor Dennis Allen.
Poor guy.
Oh, yeah, I feel terrible for him.
Yeah, just awful. For those Saints fans, too, yeah, just gotta be brutal.
He's not a head coach. He never has been brutal.
There's your quarterback cesspool challenge here. Write that down Wednesday on Purple Daily. Yeah, we're planning to do just kind of a bonus trade deadline recap, which they didn't really do anything, but I think we can look at it too big picture, and they made a decision essentially to hang on to assets for the offseason as well. But we'll do another episode talking about that. And then don't forget the OG edition of Write That Down on Minnesota Sports with Mackie and Judd and the Score North YouTube channel. So check those predictions out as well. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.